Shalom Yasharala, Shalom, Kalalayim, Alahayana wa Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakah, Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach well and rule well, who taught me this truth. Peace and salutation to the Akim, the fellow laborers, the hopeful elect, pushing this truth at risk of their own lives throughout the four corners of the earth. To the Ak with listening and learning, Shalom. It's your brother Shema, and the pillars of Benjamin Camp here in Toronto with another lesson. And through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, we're just going to touch on some topics, U.S. economy. Through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, the title of this lesson, a very troubling signs in the U.S. economy, right? And there's some mainstream news, Fox News, Tucker Carlson, and we'll get right into it. We'll watch this ad, and Lord willing, we'll attach some scripture in the spirit.
The same people who tell you that all lives don't matter. What would happen if you gave them the keys to the U.S. economy? We don't need to guess about that. We are finding out now because all around us there are signs that under this White House things are getting dangerously flaky in our economy. Here's one example. The official government jobs numbers came out today. Unemployment is up, far higher than expected. Close to 14 million Americans say they want to work but cannot find a job. That's an old story. Here's the new twist. At the very moment that unemployment is rising, fewer people are working, American businesses say they can't find employees. And it's obvious they can't. Go to the nearest strip mall and count the help wanted signs on the doors. They're everywhere. Restaurants are closing because they can't find anyone to hire, so are manufacturing plants. That means America now has far too many workers, but simultaneously far too few workers. How can that be? Another question. What happened to all the consumer products? Many of the things that you buy and need to buy are more expensive than they've ever been. Inflation is real, it's galloping. Yet at the same time, a lot of products seem to have gone missing completely. The United States is currently experiencing shortages of chicken, generators, roofing materials, lumber, ketchup, bicycles, diapers, ammunition, automobiles, plastics, appliances, chlorine, pork, propane tanks, among many other things. Keep in mind, this is peacetime. We haven't mobilized for a foreign war. Yet we're now getting reports that we should brace for a gas shortage this summer. Why is this all happening? Well, because things are so great in the economy. That's what they're telling us on television.
This week, there were more signs that the U.S. economy is roaring back to life, and they come as President Biden is proposing trillions of dollars in new government spending.
Yeah, because these politicians talk garbage. You know what I mean? Right? Keep people in a sense of stupor, a sense of hope. Right? Lulling people to sleep. Right? Lulling 2/3 of our people to sleep. 2/3 of our people, you Jake out there. Right? War is brewing. All hell's about to break loose. Right? And you have these devils saying everything's okay. I'm looking for a scripture here. Sirach chapter 13 verse 6, and it reads, if he have need of thee, he will deceive thee, and smile upon thee, and put thee in hope. Right? And that's what these politicians are doing, man. Lulling, rocking people to sleep, rocking 2/3 of our people to sleep. Right? 2/3 of Jacob. Right? You so-called indigenous, you so-called Latino, you so-called Negro, rocking you to sleep, man, along with these heathen nations. Sirach 13 verse 6, if he have need of thee, he will deceive thee. Right? It's all deception, it's all lies. Everything's all right, everything's opening back up. Right? And smile upon thee. Right? They go up there in podiums, they smile. Hand gestures, witchcraft. Right? And put thee in hope. Right? Put you in hope. All is good. It's going back to normal. You got people lining up in droves to get punched, right? In anticipation of a resemblance of so-called normal. right? And put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair and say, what wantest thou, right? And that's what these politicians are doing, man, right? Talking garbage, man, slander, lies, right? Nothing these devils them set is the truth, man. You see me? Let's continue.
It's really good news. This week, we found out that in the first quarter of this year, the economy expanded at a 6.4% annualized rate. That is huge.
Could we see a great economy and a lousy return for the stock market?
Becky, I think the good news for everybody is that we're actually probably going to see both, that we're going to continue to see a strong economy, and we also are set up actually for some great equity market returns here.
There's an awful lot of lying in financial journalism. No one ever says that, but it's...
The man said, there's an awful lot of lying. No, for real though. You know what I mean? Psalms, there's no truth in them, right? The wicked. Who are the wicked? Malachi 4, Malachi 4 and 1, right? Right? These ruling class elites, right? Babylon the Great, America the Great, right? So-called white man. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, Job 9 and 24. They're in rulership, right? Not a straight word. Nothing is the truth out of these devils. Psalm 58 verse 3, and it reads, the wicked are estranged from the womb, right? The wicked. Malachi 4 and 1, right? Let's touch it since we mentioned it. The wicked. It's rolling in the spirit. See me? Malachi 1 and 4, and it reads, Malachi 1, let's read from the top. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahawah, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Right? The Most High loves Jacob, man. Right? Who is Israel? Israel being a people before a place. Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith Yahawah, yet I love Jacob. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Right, and that's the end time prophecy, man. The Most High is going to destroy Babylon the Great, America the Great, and lay it waste. Right? A dwelling place for dragons. Right? A wilderness. Right? Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return. Right? And this is the Renaissance period. Where Edom built up back, and rose to prominence and deceived the whole world. Right? Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord, all caps Yahawah, of hosts, armies, right? They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, right? The border of wickedness, right? Esau, Edom is the border of wickedness, man. Here's the point. And the people against whom the Lord, all caps Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi, hath indignation forever. Indignation, righteous anger forever. The Most High's not dealing with it. The Most High hates the wicked, man. The Most High hates Esau. Esau, Edom, Idumea. Back to Psalm 58, verse 2, right? The wicked who are in rulership. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies, right? Not a true word in them, man. Pure lies, right? And the elites have an agenda, man, to destabilize everything, right? Turn everything chaotic into chaos, right? And try to stamp and print the whole planet, right? But the Most High has him in his trick bag, man. Because the Most High is putting His spirit on these heathen, on the wicked, Esau, Edom, to do this. Let's continue.
There's an awful lot of lying in financial journalism. No one ever says that, but it's self-evident. But they're telling us things are great. Why are they telling us that? Well, because the stock market is way, way up. Could it be overvalued? I don't know. Take a look at those price-to-earnings ratios. Can they continue? Is that reality-based? Should we be worried? Oh, just relax. But be sure to stock up on gasoline and diapers if you can. You could be looking at Soviet grocery shelves soon. And whatever you do, keep ignoring the inflation right in front of you. Oil prices, for example, they've risen 12% in a single month. Steel prices have tripled since last year. Chicken breast prices have doubled just since Biden became president. The price of eggs has increased by almost 5%. Major appliances up almost 15%. Ground beef and fresh fruits both up almost 6%. The median sales price of existing homes has shot up by 16%. And then there's lumber. Have you noticed lumber? Since last year, the price of dimensional lumber has gone up by almost 300%. Want 1,000 board feet? That'll cost you $1,359. That price has never been higher. According to the National Association of Home Builders, the cost of building materials adds more than $35,000 to the price of an average new home. Why is this happening? Well, there's too much cash in the system. That's a big reason for it. When you print too much fake money, the value of that money declines. People start to figure out that it's not real, and you get inflation. That's always
Inflation, right? And pretty soon it's going to be hyperinflation. Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 10, and it reads, "And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate," right? The agriculture section, the food chain, right? The supply chain, right? There's a noise and a cry coming from those sectors, right? Right? Misery, right? And a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills, right? Great crashing from the hills, right? Right? Symbolic of these banking systems, right? These banking systems, stock markets, these things are about to crash, man. Verse 11, here's a point. How ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down. The merchant people, right? Right? These store owners, these shops, right? They're all cut down. They're all closing up. They're all going belly up, right? All they that bear silver are cut off, right? These banks. This dollar is about to crash, man. Right? Right? The whole economy is going belly up, right? Right? And it's the Most High, Yahawashi, who has his hands on America the Great, Babylon the Great, that's doing this.
true. No one disputes it. The White House just doesn't care. Here's the new Treasury Secretary telling you not to worry about inflation because it's not a concern.
How much down payment do I need for my first home?
How will things be different when buying our next home?
And I think the economy...
The White House just doesn't care. Here's the new Treasury Secretary telling you not to worry about inflation because it's not a concern.
And I think the economy is going to...
Yeah, not to worry about inflation because it's not a concern. Smoke and mirrors. Let's go to Thessalonians. Peace and safety, right? All is blessed, all is good. Don't worry about it, right? Just keep lining up and getting punched, right? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3, and it reads, "For when they shall say peace and safety," right? And that's what they're doing, peace and safety. Don't worry about it, right? "Then sudden destruction cometh upon them," right? Then sudden destruction cometh upon them, right? Right, suddenly, as travail upon a woman with child, right? Right, travail. Let's go into this word travail. Let's go into this word travail. As travail upon a woman with child, right? This place is through. Babylon the Great's done, man. Let's go into this word. Travail.
Strong's G 5604.
Ordain in the Greek. Travail, right? The pain of childbirth. Travail pain. Birth pangs. Intolerable anguish, right? In reference to the dire calamities preceding the advent of the return, advent meaning return, the advent of the Hamashiach, right? And this is what's going on right now. These are the pains, the birthing pains, right? Before the return of Hamashiach, right? For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail, right? As pain upon a woman, the anguish, the intolerable pains upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape, right? 2/3 of our people aren't going to escape. These other nations aren't going to escape. These heathen nations aren't going to escape. Esau, Edom, the wicked, isn't going to escape. Jacob alone shall be saved out of it. Jeremiah 30 verse 7. We'll touch that next. Alas, that day is great. Jeremiah 30 verse 7, it reads, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it, right? These times that we're about to embark on, that we're about to go into, no time like it before, man. Right? No time like it before. A time of trouble, right? It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. But he, right, Jacob, Yasharallah, beginning with the elect, right, shall be saved out of it.
To get back on track, I don't anticipate that inflation is going to be a problem, but it is something that we're watching very carefully. I don't think there's going to be an inflationary problem. You know, President Biden has also proposed further substantial spending packages we would love to see enacted into law.
Oh. So just keep spending trillions of made-up dollars to pay off your political constituencies because there won't be an inflationary problem. Right. Thanks, genius. How'd you get that job anyway? They're hoping you won't notice you can't afford anything anymore. You'll be too distracted by the fact that you don't have electricity. The Sacramento Bee reported a few days ago that California energy officials, quote, can't promise they'll be able to keep the lights on this summer. Oh, no lights in your home. Not a big deal. Just use candles and dig a pit latrine.
Hey, listen, and these times are coming, man. Listen, this mainstream news anchor, Tucker's being real right now. He's talking the truth. The water He's talking the truth. Right? Mainstream news is talking the truth. This is all that's coming. This is coming, man. These are the times of trouble that are coming. Jacob's trouble. We just read it. Jeremiah 30 verse 7. Right? What's going to happen when the lights go out? 2nd Ezra 15 verse 2nd Ezra 15 verse 18. 2nd Ezra 15 verse 18, and it reads, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Right? Whose pride? America the Great, Babylon the Great. Very prideful. Nothing to proud like that. Proud. The city shall be troubled. Right? That's that Jacob. That's that Jacob's trouble, man. A time like no other. Right? The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Right? Men out here are gonna be afraid, man. The gulliest of gully. Right? The roughest of the rough. Right? They're gonna be afraid. Here's the point, verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, right? A neighbor is not going to have pity on his neighbor. A man's not going to have pity on his next door neighbor, his friend across the street, right? But shall destroy their houses with the sword, right? He's going to invade. A neighbor is going to invade his neighbor's house with a weapon in his hand, man. The sword being a weapon, modern day gun, right? And spoil their goods. Spoil meaning to take their goods, your food, your water, your baby formula, your Pampers, your canned goods, your dog, your wife, right? Because of the lack of bread. And here's why. Because of the lack of bread, right? There's going to be no food out here, man. That's what's coming. I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal. Lord willing, we'll touch on it next. That the price of corn has gone up. Corn's in everything, man. Everything. Fuel included. Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, the tribulation that's coming, right? Jacob's trouble, right? 2/3 of the people that they repent. A time like no other.
Meanwhile, in Texas, which is supposed to be sane, they always say they are, the Dallas Morning News is telling us that, quote, inefficient homes are to blame for the state's massive power outages this winter. So it was your fault the power went out. You had the wrong kind of house. It definitely was not the fault of stupid and corrupt renewable energy schemes, the ones that forced the entire state to rely on windmills, which froze when it got cold. No, it wasn't their fault. It was your fault.
But yeah, we're going to close out. We hit the point, right? But inflation is coming. Hyperinflation shortly after that, man. The rise of cost of things, right? While wages remain the same. You know what I mean? It's a recipe for disaster, right? Meanwhile, the so-called leaders, the political heads of things, the political leaders, right, are saying peace. Don't worry, right? We'll close out. Jeremiah 51 verse 8, and it reads, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed, right? America the Great, Babylon the Great, is suddenly fallen and destroyed, and we're witnessing it, man. And this is a stage by stage a thing that's going on, destruction that's going on. Howl for her, right? Howl for her. Take balm for her pain, right? Meds, take balm. If so, she may be healed, right? But she's not going to be healed, right? It's just gonna wax worse and worse. But I pray you're edified. Adawan Rataza, stay prayed up, pray without ceasing. Kwame Asharala. Wa Abad Babal.